Robert Sherman's in Doha. The retired Air Force Special Operations Commander, Major Glenn Ignazio, joins us now. Glenn, I think there's been a lot of skepticism every time we get in this situation because I would say, it's fair to say the president's probably come out dozens of times and said, oh, it's going to be a deal soon. It could be a deal soon. What does feel different, to both Kelly and Robert's point, is that now we're hearing some of it from the other side, like the Iranian foreign minister to come out and say this memorandum of understanding has never been closer. So maybe we are getting somewhere if both sides are saying it. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. And what Robert just said about having the Qataris and the Pakistanis, everybody involved with this saying that's positive, including Iran themselves saying it, is definitely a plus versus just saying it's coming from President Trump, which I think a lot of people were just getting tired of. But I do believe that this is the best point to step forward. I think the other thing that's rather significant is that this is a performance-based. Iran has to do something, we have to do something. So that whole mistrust back and forth, I think, can be taken care of with actually these gates that everybody has to do something to move this along further.
Let me talk about some of these details as reported by both Kelly and Robert. So go to the telestrator here, just go bullet point on what Kelly was hearing from the White House. Nuclear material destroyed and removed, program dismantled, no funding of terror groups, the Strait gets opened, no money released until requirements are met. Okay, this last point here, I'm going to come back to that with you, Glenn. And then on Iran's side of it, including Lebanon in permanent end to the fighting is important. They say would not cover the nuclear program is what they had been saying, and that would be talked about during the 60-day ceasefire. So maybe there's some differences in terms of how everybody's been phrasing it. Now, U.S. sanctions being lifted, this is the part I wanted to come back to because I think this bullet point relates to that last bullet point on the first screen, and no commitment regarding transferring control of the Strait, which could be different than opening it. So let me go on to that compensation mechanism or the idea that we might be giving or unfreezing some of Iran's assets. I guess the White House point is, even though it doesn't seem like they've come out and definitively said it, but they said, okay, but only if Iran meets certain goals on the other side, right? It would be, if this, then that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think it's that first step about what they're saying of opening the straits and our blockade would stop, which would give them the first ability to start exporting oil and generating some revenue from that. But as you saw, a lot of the criticism from President Trump to the President Obama's agreement is that money, that concession of giving, billions of dollars, I think that's going to take a lot more, including reducing sanctions. So again, I think this first step gives them a little bit of an economic relief to be able to have oil back and forth. But really, it does come to play that, as you said, it's a performance-based. You must do something, we must do something. And I think one of the things I'd like to see, and I think many people are asking, is that why this asks for 60 days, that there's a timeline that this happens. Like, you know what, you need to open the straits and we will pull our blockade back within the next week or 2 weeks, rather than a whole 60 days thinking everything's going to be done at the last week. I'm sure they've structured that, but we have to see this actually play out that way.
Well, no, you're right, because it's hard enough to get to this point with Iran. They're notorious for doing this type of thing, whatever administration or whoever in the world they're negotiating with. So, yeah, they'll give in maybe, let's say hypothetically, and sign this memorandum of understanding. But that, to your point, only starts the clock, if there is a clock, on the next phase, because, this isn't really worth a whole lot, is it? I mean, the Strait being open would be big now, but it was open before the war, unless we get to some sort of a larger deal.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think that one of the contentions, honestly, is when we talked about it, is Lebanon. Lebanon is sort of the wild card that sits on this that could really trip the whole thing up, right? I think that's what we're worried about. But, we've always said you can't bomb into a changed regime, but I guess we've really bombed them to the negotiating table. And I think that's something that Trump is going to definitely go to if this happens again. And I hope it doesn't, but I think he's going to be quicker with military action because that's what brought that to the table. But now back to Lebanon is what we're saying. I saw a report just today that Hezbollah was requesting from Iran that this negotiation agreement with the United States would include the ceasefires and everything. So that whole thing with Israel and our negotiations really has been the wild card. And I can't say they've been the most supportive on this. So the Lebanon thing, I hope, is able to stay out of there. But man, that's always been the one that's tripped us up, and I hope that we're able to get over the line here and get 100%. This done with Iran.
I mean, that's why Robert and I were talking about that, right? That Israel's not even involved in these talks. So yeah, Lebanon's the wild card, but Israel in particular, and what Netanyahu does is, I know for weeks people have been saying and including the president, he has no choice. He'll have to go along with whatever is signed. Are you confident that'll be the case?
Well, I think he'll say it in words, but we've also had him say, President Trump said, do not go further into Lebanon. And we
Right.
saw that press further. So, words and everything, they may be friendly and all, I get it. But again, Israel will always do what Israel wants to do. And most of the time, they haven't been very supportive because they want Iran gone. Yes, they want the nuclear deal gone. Or the nuclear weapons gone. Completely agree, and the missiles and so forth. But Israel has not been on our side completely to get this done. And so that's, again, I think that's one of the things that if Netanyahu doesn't do this, that you're going to see certain actions from President Trump to possibly pull aid to have some kind of leverage over Israel.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but I think that's one of the ways we may be going to keep Israel in check on this time.
No, I think it's a really good point, considering especially how the last couple of weeks have gone. Thank you, Glenn. Glenn Ignazio with us. I want to go to some breaking news that we've been following in Midland, Texas. We're learning now the name of the alleged shooter in